It's mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. We are filming this show live on Tuesday during the NFL trade deadline. It has come. It has passed. If you want to see your questions or comments on a future mailbag show, you got to be subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications turned on, and make sure that you're using hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line. First one's coming in here from Joshua. What's up, Joshua? Do you think Philbin will be a good O-line coach? I know Philbin has offensive line coaching experience in the past, has been in the NFL for quite some time, is a well-respected offensive mind. Here's the thing, though. I don't think our offensive line can be anything worse than what it has been. We got a few injuries that we have to be able to keep tabs on, but I think at the end of the day, this is a move where Antonio Pierce trusts Philbin, and because of Philbin's past experience, you're hoping that it's better. And the one reason why I do think that it's going to be better is the simple fact of they're going to start Jackson Powers-Johnson at center. Simple fix. JPJ at center instead of Andre James, and you're going to get good results. Let's go to FF Oriole. What do you think is a better outlook for the Raiders to try and win and get that 1% to the playoffs with the current team, or tank for the draft? The better outlook for the current team right now is to try to win games, because if they don't win games, then this coaching staff's going to be gone, and you're going to have a lot different looking of a team. But, the honest answer here is the Raiders not winning any football games, getting a high draft pick, and having the chance to get a franchise quarterback, maybe like a Cam Ward, maybe like a Shedeur Sanders. But then the other really important part of this tank is if you have the number 1 pick, or if you have the number 2 pick, you have a chance to get Ben Johnson. And if you have a chance to get Ben Johnson, you have a chance to totally change your entire franchise. Let's go to Nick. Did you see the Raiders name Scott the interim and Joe as the interim offensive line coach? I did. Anytime Raiders news happens, I promise you this, we'll keep you up to date. It's why you should be subscribed. I made a video probably about an hour and a half ago on this topic. Now, when you guys see this on a later date, just know that I did make a video on it. But when the Raiders hired North Turner, it was then almost as obvious can be that Scott's going to be the interim. He's got 3 years of offensive coordinator experience. Hopefully it's better than what Getty was. I don't know how it can get much worse. Oscar, I'll be surprised if we win 4 games after Sunday. So you're saying we got 8 games remaining. You'd be surprised if we win 4 more games? I agree with that. I would be surprised if the Raiders won 4 games this season. So that means out of the next 8 games, they're going to win 2 more. I don't see that happening. If they run into 1 win, sure, that can happen. Running into more than that, though, I would be shocked. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be shocked because, yes, we moved on from Getsy, but we still have an Antonio Pierce problem at head coach. Blake Thomas, what's up, man? If AP isn't back, who do you think is the most likely to be the Raiders coach next season? I've answered this one a few times live today on the show, but I'm going to go with my gut feeling. And right now, all the Jello is telling me to go with Mike Vrabel. It's because Tom Brady's relationship with Vrabel, with Mark Davis' relationship with Vrabel, the Raiders want to add a coach that, they feel like is a good overall head coach and can, do a lot of the things that Vrabel's going to be able to do. I do think Vrabel got the short end of the stick this past coaching cycle, but if I was a betting man, I would say Vrabel, and then you end up bringing in a brand new OC, though I want Ben Johnson. If you can't get Ben Johnson, then I think it's going to be Mike Vrabel. If you're out on those 2 guys, the next coach that I would look at is Zach Robinson, who's currently the offensive coordinator right now for the Atlanta Falcons. How about this? So I want you guys to let me know, if not AP, who is going to be the Raiders coach next season? This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. While you're going to hit with the YouTube ad break, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. Let's go to the Soup Daddy, today's MVP, the man of all the Jello, Ryan Campbell. Do you think Cam Ward is better than Sanders? Who would you want as OC, and who do you want as wide receiver 1? I do think Cam Ward is better than Shedeur Sanders. I think Cam Ward is the top quarterback prospect, and I've thought that he's the top quarterback prospect for months at this point. I mean, again, you can go back and look at my videos I did in March. I was all on Cam Ward. I feel like I've done a good job in my, we'll call it career, being able to evaluate quarterback talent. I think it's what I'm most strong at, and I think when you go back and look at a lot of the videos that I've done, my track record proves that. I do like Cam Ward better. I would want Cam Ward and Ben Johnson. I think that's a hell of a pairing. And then if your number 1 receiver is with those guys, I'll say you could still just say Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, one of those 2 guys got to step up. We'll see what we got in Michael Mayer. But watch out for T. Higgins. T. Higgins has been a name that's been brought up to me a few times, and I know I've thrown that name out there. I'll say T. Higgins is a sneaky, sneaky guy. Let's go to Noah. Mitch, how would you feel if we draft Carson Beck, and what round would you get him in if we do? He's going to go in the first round. However, I'm not really crazy about Carson Beck. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback prospect. I think you're seeing this season he's getting exposed a little bit without some of the top talent that Georgia has kind of done, circulating around him. Also, they're getting more tape on him, and the more and more people are starting to scheme, he's just not as good. He's going to go in round 1. So, he's not going to be a QB that falls in round 2, maybe somebody like a Quinn Ewers. So, if you want Beck, you're going to have to take him in round 1. I'll be curious to see if he's a top 10 pick. If he is a top 10 pick, I think it's just because teams need a quarterback, but I don't think he's a top 10 prospect. If you're looking for Raiders content all day, every day, 365, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you got those notifications on. And if you are a real one, let me know with a real one comment down below. OG, what's up, bro? Do the Raiders want the number 1 pick? Recent drafts, the 2 pick has been better. I think every NFL team wants the number 1 pick because every NFL team is going to believe in their staff, and overall their team to be able to make the right decision. But, if I was the Raiders and I had the number 1 overall pick, again, I would take Cam Ward. I wouldn't think twice about it. But if let's say you're picking 1 and there's a team at number 2, and I think the Raiders do want Shedeur more than they want Cam Ward, if I was Las Vegas, then I would trade with whoever's number 2, get an extra first-round pick, and then just end up getting your quarterback in Shedeur. Eric, draft McMillan in the first, then draft Fafita in the second, only if Ward or Sanders are already taken. McMillan's a hell of a talent, no doubt about it. Fafita, though, was a quarterback that I know we talked about a little bit in the offseason because he's a fun and entertaining athlete. I kind of look at him as like a Dorian Thompson-Robinson, really fun college quarterback, but it's not going to be good enough to be able to get it done in the NFL. And this is a QB that I've watched more of this season because I remember Chugs bringing him up in the offseason. So because of that, I did my best to do my homework. Robert, should the Raiders trade Mayer in the offseason? I have absolutely no idea, and I hate saying that around a player that's currently on the team, but I don't really think it's fair for me to say, yes, we should trade away Mayer when we don't even know what exactly is going on. The Raiders are anticipating that he's going to be back in Week 11. He's been away from the team since Week 3, and he's been on the non-injury list. I don't know what exactly is happening with Mayer, and I don't want to speculate again, but if he's 100% healthy and he sat out this long, then I think that he probably will be traded. If he sat out this long and he's got some medical or he's got some personal thing going on, then I don't think that's fair for us to sit up here and say we should trade him. Wrong way. Take Sanders and trade future first-round picks and get Ashton Genty. I don't think that this is a very smart thing to do. I don't think that you trade first-round picks for running back prospects because you could have the best running back in the NFL, but if you don't surround him with a lot of talent, if you don't surround him with a good team, he's just not nearly as good. And that's just the way that it is. I mean, think about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry last season, he got banged up a little bit, but he was also on the Tennessee Titans and not nearly as close to being as good as what he is this season. Think about Josh Jacobs on the Raiders team last season. He couldn't do anything because we didn't have a lot of talent around him. We need to figure out our quarterback, offensive line, and then your final piece to the puzzle is running back. Unfortunately for the Raiders, we just need so many pieces, so Genty's not going to happen, man. We got more questions coming up here in just a moment, but our show sponsor is Prize Picks, and if you're a Raiders fan that needs something to root for, then I'm telling you right now, Prize Picks is for you. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. If you're playing Prize Picks and you're like, Mitch, all right, give me an example of more or less. Lamar Jackson, 50.5 rushing yards against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the game that's going down on Thursday night. If you don't already know, make sure you pull up for all of our Thursday night streams. I got to dress up as somebody who watches this show all the time. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be fun. But more or less, if you're like, oh, Lamar's going to have more, you pick more. If you think he's going to have less, you go with less. And it's really, honestly, that simple. Prize Picks is the best way to get real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in as little as 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's go to cruising. I want Jackson Dart and Respo from the U or Cam. What it do, nation? Miss you guys. Been busy now with work and the family. Headed to Germany next year. Oh, crap. Alex is actually heading to Germany in like a few weeks. She's going over there for a Christmas work trip. I think Jackson Dart's a fun quarterback. Again, college QB to me. I don't love him in the NFL. Maybe I got to watch a little bit more because there's been a few other people that are like, Jackson Dart's legit. The other quarterback I got to watch more of is Musburger, whatever the hell his name is, from LSU. I got to watch him. I do like Nussmeier. I like Respo. He's a fun receiver, and I've watched a lot of him because I've watched a lot of Cam Ward. But, that's somebody who's probably going to be a wide receiver 3 in the NFL. Let's go to Body Mechanic Sports Therapy. Any chance Gruden might come back? I sure hope not. And I think that a lot of people probably know how I'm going to react to this question here. I literally do not know how any person that is a Raiders fan can possibly want John Gruden back on this team. And I'm just going to keep saying it because I keep getting asked the question. The Raiders need to rebuild in the draft. If you trust John Gruden to rebuild in the draft, then I have some unbelievable beachfront property in Wyoming. Let's go to the biggest clown. What's your plan for the Raiders going into the draft? Tank or try and win more games? Even though we won't win much, does AP come back with this performance? To me, the Raiders got to win 4 games out of their next 8 to bring back AP. And even that, if you win 4 games, but your team just still, doesn't look good, if I'm silver and black, I'm going to make a decision, and I'm okay moving on from them. But if I told you you win 4 out of your next 8, I think a lot of Raider fans would be like, holy shit, that's really impressive. You should bring them back. My plan for the Raiders would be you go out there and you try to win football games. I don't think that anything is made when you tank, when you give up. I think it's bad karma. But I think even if the Raiders go out and try to win games, they're not good enough. And AP has yet to show me that he's good enough of a head coach for us to win. So I would say you keep going out there, you're doing your thing, and then at the end of the year, you get a new head coach, you get a new offensive coordinator, you get a quarterback, you build your offensive line, and so on and so forth. Let's go to the black hole. When Aidan returns, will he be the Raiders' starting quarterback? I believe so. Aidan went down with a broken thumb, or fractured thumb, I guess, back when the Raiders played the Rams in Week 7, and he got put on IR. The diagnosis was he was going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, but when you get put on IR, you're out 4 games at minimum. So because of that, he's eligible to come back in Week 13, and if he's eligible to come back, I'm going to imagine he's the starter. The only way that he's not starting when he returns is if the Raiders beat the Dolphins and if they beat the Denver Broncos and are 2-0. Or I guess maybe if you lose to the Dolphins and then the Raiders go back to Minshew or go to Desmond Ridder and then that QB gets a win in Week 12. I'd say that's the only way that Aidan's not the starter when he comes back. Let's go to Max. What's up, man? If Desmond Ridder looks capable, it is worth using our top pick on Travis Hunter. There's never going to be a situation where Desmond Ridder looks good enough to say that that's our quarterback next season. I would say the only way that you could tell me that we'd be confident in our quarterback room with Desmond Ridder, Raiders got to win 6 out of the next 8. You got to win 6 out of the next 8, and it has to be all 8 good games. No stinkers, no clunkers. You got to win 6 out of your next 8, and Desmond Ridder has to be a reason why you're winning games. Believe me, I need something to root for too. I need something to be hopeful in. That's just not going to happen. Let's go to Jerry Rader. What record do we have to have for AP to be back next year? You got to win 4 out of your next 8. I mean, I think that that's just the magic number, because even if you win 3 out of the next 8, I'm still going to go, we won 5 games this season, and we didn't look very good. You know what I mean? This team needs to play better. They need to find an identity. They need to start tackling better. They need to, limit the pre-snap penalties. The Raiders need to show us that they are taking strides forward and being better. And we had a question where it was like, what if the Raiders show that they're getting better, but they lose all 8 games? Then you didn't get any better. You got to win in the NFL. How many games do the Raiders need to win for Antonio Pierce to be back in 2025? So right now the Raiders are 2-7. What does their record need to be for Antonio Pierce to be back? I'm saying out of these next 8 games, because you fired your coaches and because the Raiders expect them to be good, Mark Davis expects the Raiders to win. Based on the information that I know and based on the information I have, the magic number's 4. And if we don't get there, it's going to be a new head coach, which means I'm putting an extra $100 in my pocket. Thanks for the bet earlier. Jonathan, Raiders should draft Ricky White. Jacoby would be a great mentor for him. UNLV wide receiver, I'll have to do a little bit more homework on him. I'll be real. I don't know a lot about Ricky White. I don't know a lot about a lot of wide receiver prospects. I only know quarterbacks, and then once January comes around, I start taking a little bit more of a deep dive into free agency, start taking a little bit more of a deep dive in some of these draft prospects. Big luck. Trade Minshew for a Luby's gift card. That's right. Unfortunately, the trade deadline is coming past. I would have traded Gardner Minshew for a Luby's gift card. Hell, I would have traded him for a loogie at this point. He's going to be on the team for the remainder of the year. I don't know if he'll be back next season. If I had to imagine, the Raiders are probably going to have to cut him next offseason because nobody's going to trade for him. Maybe the Colts do, depending on their quarterback situation. But tough sledding here for Minshew. Miguel, what's up, bro? If Cam and Sanders are off the draft board, who should we get and in what round? If those two quarterbacks are off the board, I don't know if there's another quarterback that I like to take in the first round. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I don't know if I like Carson Beck enough. I don't know if I like Cam Ewers enough. I guess I would say Jalen Milroe, but even Milroe has been really sliding down my board. If the Raiders ended up getting Milroe and we had a Ben Johnson, but, like, Ben Johnson's not coming to the Raiders to coach Milroe. If Todd Monken, I mean, maybe if he came over here to the Raiders, but even that one, if those two QBs are off the board, you better, I mean, if those two QBs are off the board again for the Raiders, you better hope that they have a better quarterback plan before that because it's not going to be pretty and I'm not going to be a happy camper. If the Raiders go into the draft without a quarterback, they absolutely, positively got to figure out a way to go get their guy. Can Brock Bowers make the Pro Bowl this year? Yeah, I think he will make the Pro Bowl this year, quite frankly. Like, now, again, he's still got to be able to put up some good numbers, and he's been putting up good numbers. I think his numbers are about to get a little bit better. His usage might be a little bit less because Getsy historically has really done a good job of getting tight ends involved, which, of course, like he's gotten Brock Bowers involved. Could have even gotten him involved a little bit more, but right now, I mean, who would be a better option than Brock Bowers as a Pro Bowler for the AFC? I'm not really sure. Reminder, y'all, we're going to do a special live show this Sunday. Now, it's going to be me and Jeremy Chuggs. We're going to start at 12:30 Eastern Time, and I know that the Raiders don't play this week. Totally get it. However, though, I still want to be able to root for the number one pick. And if the Raiders start winning more football games, then I won't do number one pick coverage. But the Raiders right now are picking number 6 if the draft were to be today. When we do our show this Sunday, we legitimately could be in a spot to be at the number 2 overall pick spot. I mean, we could even be higher depending if the Titans win or lose or not. But based on the games that I'm going to be covering, the Panthers and Giants, they play at 9:30 a.m. All these times are Eastern times, by the way. They play early at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So I won't be live for that game, but I will be live for Bears versus Patriots, Jags versus Vikings, and Saints versus Falcons. The teams that are pictured are obviously the teams that we're going to be rooting for because if the Patriots win, if the Jags win, and if the Saints win, well then luckily the Raiders get to move up that draft pick a little bit. Like, real talk, we're going to be rooting for the Panthers, not the Giants. But if the Panthers, Patriots, Jags, and Saints all win those games, Raiders are up to the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. If the Titans end up losing as well,
or
if the Browns.
I forgot the Panthers and Giants both suck.
Correct. Both teams are really bad. But then you also got a team like the Browns who are ahead of us, and I don't know if they play this week. I haven't looked at the Browns schedule. But we could be potentially up there at the top 2 picks. And if we have a top 2 pick, then we can get Cam Ward, then we get Shedeur Sanders. So if you're not doing anything on Sunday and you're in the same boat as me of if we're not going to win this season, let's get a high draft pick. Tune in. We're going to be covering all 3 of these games right here. Before I get out of here, reminder, follow me on IG, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. I don't think I'm ever going to eat any more Jell-O for the rest of my life because I'm filled up from the flow up to the toe up. What is it? Toe up to the flow up. As you can tell, Jell-O is starting to hit my system in many, many ways. Reminder, again, subscribe, noties. I'll see you guys Thursday. We're Going to have a lot of fun, and then I'll also see you guys on Sunday for a little bit of a different Raiders Report show.